Good day, folks. It's Tony Fortunato from the Technology Firm. I've had a few requests, people asking me to share the information I had given out during my 1-hour baselining, actually 2-hour baselining session that I did the other week, and I thought, why not just annotate a few slides and send them off to you, and you can have it like that. So let's see how this goes. This one is pick the appropriate tool or tools, and this applies to both baselining and or troubleshooting. Same stuff applies. Now, what you have to be careful about is documentation, right? And IT people are notoriously poor at documenting, and this doesn't have to be a long drawn-out process, just a couple of bullets for every point. For example, let me get my little pointer here. When capturing packets, are you using the built-in packet capture application in the firewall, in the switch, in the router? Are you using a span? Are you using port mirroring, taps? Are you capturing directly from the client and or the server, or a combination of all this stuff? It's incredibly important that you document, again, just a bullet of how you're capturing these packets, okay? And when you are capturing from a secondary device, will it keep up with traffic? What I mean by that is it's quite common for people to have old laptops, old desktops to capture packets, and that's a fantastic idea, don't get me wrong, but you have to understand its limits. So I strongly encourage you to find out if these devices can drop packets under extreme load or broadcast storm or multicast storm. Tons of ways of doing this. I'm not going to get into that right now. Just make sure you understand the limits of your tools. If you use a tap, will port security cause an issue? Now here's the deal. If you have a tap, minimally you're going to have 3 ports, right? You're going to disconnect the client, plug it into this old tap, plug it back into the wall, and you will plug into that tap as well. So you have 3 connections on that switch or that tap, pardon me. So we have to be careful because you have an Ethernet connection into that tap, which means the switch might see your Ethernet MAC address as well as the client. If the switch is set up a certain way, you will probably trip port security, and then guess what? The port's disabled. You got another problem to deal with. 2 ways to get around this. Number 1, if you have a tap that can mitigate that by using certain settings, fantastic. If you don't, you might want to consider USB attached taps, and what that means is the client connects to this tap, the tap goes back to the switch, but you connect into the tap using USB, not Ethernet. It's kind of a big deal. If capturing Wi-Fi packets from a secondary device, and this also applies to a lot of security protocols as well, folks, make sure you capture the full packet, no packet slicing, and you have the packets from when the client connects to the access point and or server. So we need that initial connection, and we got to make sure they're full-size packets. The other one is disable transmit offloading from Windows clients when capturing from a client. So if you have a Windows client that's sending data, and inevitably they will, you have to make sure you disable transmit offloading. Otherwise, Wireshark or any other protocol analyzer will see these funky size packets and or missing CRCs, that kind of stuff, and you're going to have a problem with your analysis. So there's a few points to this. Does disabling transmit offloading really slow down your machine? Well, for most people using a regular everyday computer, no, it's not the case at all. Now, if you're talking about servers and that kind of stuff, that's a whole other ball of wax. That's not what I'm talking about. Lastly, are you using Wireshark, PacketMon for Windows, TCP dump, or an appliance? Again, or a combination of all that stuff. Please document which one you're using. Again, you want somebody else to either A, confirm your results by duplicating and replicating what you just did, or B, they might point out something you missed when they see your methodology. Nothing wrong with that because you're going to fix the problem. It's all about fixing the problem. So there you go. There's one slide, and I'll do a couple more for you folks. Hope you enjoyed it.